Alright, let's do this.
Recently, I was sent a picture of a hotel room phone that said, dial 77911 for emergencies. Is that legal? Well, technically, yes. Is it misleading, confusing, and potentially dangerous? Also, a great big hell yeah. Today we're diving into Kari's Law, the RAY BAUM'S Act, and how hotels sometimes get it almost right. And why almost doesn't cut it in an emergency. That's coming up next on TiPS, Today in Public Safety.
Welcome to TiPS, Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Here's your host, Fletch, with today's tips.
Welcome to TiPS, Today in Public Safety. This is Fletch. I'm a certified NENA EMP. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday each week, I bring you the latest news and information about public safety, next generation 911 services and solutions, and more. Today we're going to be talking about how well-intentioned but utterly misguided hotel room phones can be, and how they unintentionally sabotage emergency response. Plus, we're going to tell you about what you can do to fix it before someone pays the price. I get photos from time to time from the field, and all of you folks out there never disappoint me. Last week, a gem came in from a hotel room phone that said, dial 77911 for emergencies, along with the note saying, Fletch, is this legal? Well, actually, believe it or not, it is. But let's not get too comfortable, because while it might pass the legal sniff test, it absolutely fails the common sense and human panic test. Let's unpack this and find out why. Kari's Law requirements. Kari's Law, which is now a federal law and applicable everywhere in the U.S., has three main requirements for telephone systems that are commonly found in hotels, hospitals, schools, and corporate campuses. The first, direct dialing of 911. No prefix, no access code, just pick up, dial 911, and reach 911. That's it. No interceptions. This isn't football. Number two, on-site notification. Someone on premise or in the network must be alerted when a 911 call is made, and that's so they can help first responders locate you. Then there's the callback number. When the call reaches 911, it needs to deliver a callback number that actually reaches a live person. Now, that does not mean the phone that placed the call, although it could be. But you don't want that to be a dead-end extension. And if the caller's passed out, a callback isn't going to do them much good. Now, RAY BAUM'S Act, that adds a dispatchable location requirement that delivers the room or the floor or an area of the building. And that gets delivered with the on-site notification as well as what goes to dispatch. That's it. That's the law. So when someone doesn't dial 911, say they dial 77911, like they were told to do, Kari's Law doesn't even come into play. And that's likely why the establishment promoted it. You see, the law doesn't cover alternate numbers or internal security. The requirements are triggered by a 911 phone call, period. So, many people ask, what's the risk? I've got people here, I can respond faster. Well, let's say a guest sees that label and dials 77911, thinking that they're doing the right thing. That call might go to a hotel operator, or security, or who knows, voicemail. In the meantime, an actual emergency is now unfolding. But the one number we know works, 911, was never dialed. See the problem? Now, even worse, some phones don't have any mention of 911, just that mysterious made-up number. But that's not illegal. But it sure is irresponsible. So let me be clear about a few things here. There is no law that requires emergency instructions to be posted. That kind of stuff is found in fire codes, by the way, if you want to push for that. But they're local. There is no law that prohibits labeling the phone dial whatever for emergencies. But there is a law that says 911 must work, and it must work without codes, prefixes, or interception. So if 911 works as required, then yes, you can plaster that phone with whatever you want. But that label causes confusion, so you've failed the human factor test. So if you're in public safety and you want to do something, what can you do? First step, don't call 911 to test the phone. Seriously, I don't care who you are, don't do it. At least not without coordination and authorization from the front desk and the local PSAP. Don't be that guy or girl. Next, talk to the manager. Ask questions. Does 911 work directly from this phone? Do they test it regularly? Why is it labeled to dial 77911 instead of just saying dial 911? Do you receive any on-site notification when that call is placed? How about the room number? Does that get transmitted to you and to the public safety answer point? And what about a callback number? Does the Peace app get one that reaches a real human that can answer questions about why 911 was just dialed? Finally, you want to educate. Don't debate. Tell them about Kari's Law. Tell them about the RAY BAUM'S Act. Tell them about the 9-year-old girl who knew to dial 911 but couldn't, and because of that watched her mother die in a Texas hotel room. This is not just about compliance. It's about conscience. Now, if you went to NENA 2025 in Long Beach and were staying at the Hyatt, you might have noticed something a little bit odd there. The phones in the rooms were labeled for emergencies dial 55. Sounds a bit sketchy, right? Well, guess what? They passed the test. I spoke to the manager and 911 worked perfectly. No access codes needed. 55 was just an internal number to hotel security and not a replacement for 911. After discussing it, the manager saw my point and he was going to do some research to change those labels on the phone. So that's how you do it right. And I have to give a great big shout out to both Anna Marie and NENA for making sure that that is in the NENA lodging contract anytime we book hotel space. And sometimes it's those little details that matter more than you think. So bottom line, if you see a weird phone label like dial 55 or dial 77911 for emergencies, don't freak out right away. Just turn up your curiosity to 11. Ask questions. Be nice. But also let them know this is not optional. This is part of the United States Code of Federal Regulations, Title 47, Section 9.5. Federal law enforced by DOJ with real consequences. And if you happen to be a hotel operator that stumbled across this podcast, fix your signage. Test your systems. Don't be that headline none of us want to write. Well, that wraps up this episode of TiPS Today in Public Safety. I hope the podcast was both educational for you and you learned something new. That's why we do these. If you like what you heard today, please drop a like and be sure to tell your friends. And don't forget to leave a comment. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Plus, if you have any questions or want to suggest a topic of your own, just leave a note or reach out to me on social media at Fletch911. Who knows? Maybe your idea will be a future podcast. This is Fletch. Thanks so much for listening. And if you're in public safety, thanks for what you do every single day. Stay safe, take care, and we'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to TiPS Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Hosted by Fletch and available every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on 911tips.com. That's 911tips.com. Be sure to like and subscribe, and remember to join us each week for the latest on NG 911. I am Spider Harrison, the official 911 voiceover dude. Catch me on Sirius XM on various channels, including 90s on 9, the 10th spot, and on the Weekend Countdown on Hits 1. Or don't regret it for the rest of your life. Either way, I'm good.